Life is short and games are many, so we can't be wasting our time earning platinum trophies in the bad ones, can we? Missables, bugged, broken, online, unobtainable, the list of problematic trophies seems to grow exponentially every day. So what is a trophy hunter to do? How can you navigate the minefield of forums and threads online, scouring for the right game to start? Well, here's the trick. You don't. You just watch this video and we will give you the very best 25 exceptional games with gloriously fun platinum trophies according to the team at ZXL. We put our nerdy brains together to compile a list we think is so top-notch with a range of games and genres, so brilliant, with platinums so wonderful that you will all be happy with this list. From the good old PS3 days to the current generation's cream of the crop, we give you all the best platinums of the last 20 odd years. We give you the games, where and how best to get them right now, difficulty ratings, brief trophy lists, breakdowns and warnings for anything at all problematic.
We've done the work, so you can relax and just enjoy your next platinum.
Which should be one of these 25 best platinum trophies under 20 hours.
So let's go. Number 1, Back to the Future. Now we start with a truly brilliant game that somehow revived the Back to the Future franchise with a 4th installment that truly deserves its place next to the original trilogy. And yes, I truly believe that Back to the Future is the greatest sci-fi trilogy of all time.
I want to be offended, but god damn it, I love it so much too.
That's because you're an 80s baby like me, boo. Creator Bob Gale returns to Hill Valley for more DeLorean driving, time travelling, canon fighting Back to the Future, and coming from the masters of narrative games, the original Telltale Games devs, this could not have been a better game.
Tell them the catch.
Okay, so there is a catch, and that is that the game has been delisted and is no longer purchasable digitally. This means you have to find a second-hand physical copy, PS4, which will cost, well, more than a new game. So in some places, you can get it for 40-50 quid. A lot of people are trying to sell it for 100. Sorry. Worth it though, genuinely, even if it is 100 quid, it's that good. Now, I pay £100 every year for FIFA, so £100 for a truly brilliant game, a truly brilliant Back to the Future installment. That's okay with me because it's delisted and a physical copy. I wouldn't pay that for a Telltale game digitally. I'm not that stupid. I mean, maybe I would be if it was really, really exciting, but well, okay, this one isn't really a catch. It's more of an inconvenience at worst and a delight at best based on your perspective. But the game does require 2 playthroughs, and a couple of missable trophies means you will likely need a guide at some point. But I implore you not to spend that amount of money for a game this brilliant and then spoil the story for yourself. That would literally be the biggest waste of time, money, and a brilliant game you could possibly commit. Don't do that to the game, but most importantly, don't do it to yourselves. Please, play the game, plat the game, love the game, and if you don't like it, keep quiet about it because I want another one. 2. Infamous Second Son, a franchise that seems to be forgotten and abandoned completely by Sony in preference of making gaming's most violent daddy a warm and cuddly teddy. And honestly, this kind of grinds my gears because Infamous is a fantastic franchise and one that belongs in the current climate of games. It would literally fit so well into modern gaming, it's unreal. This generation was built for Infamous. Spider-Man is good, sure, but I find the confines of New York and Peter's world more frustrating than enjoyable. We should have a huge gaming universe the size of Assassin's Creed, but with, good games. And that isn't possible due to licensing at Marvel. And honestly, I find it pretty sad and disappointing that PlayStation believe more in a Disney IP than they do of one of their own that still has a massive franchise and a good history. Infamous deserves their big money, big game, big universe treatment. What says you? Yes or no in the comments to Infamous coming back with a vengeance and igniting a PlayStation universe back to life. Second Son is 20 hours with 2 playthroughs, 1 each for good and bad karma, earned by doing, good and bad things. Not hugely different, but depending on which you do first, the bad karma ending may hit you right in the feels. 4 out of 10 difficulty, as some challenges are a tad tricky, but a classic from early on in the PS4 life cycle. Will you become Delson, a conduit, and fight the totalitarian DUP to earn the right to enjoy your powers? Get it? Because it's the plat name. It's funny, right? FBC Firebreak.
A game we ourselves are playing here at Team ZXL and loving every minute of it. This fun 3-player co-op fixer shooter span out of the Control universe from Remedy, one of Zack's favourite dev teams. You and your buddies are firebreakers, working on repairing and clearing out FBC HQ, the old house. 6 years after Jesse's story, we're back and there are more hiss than ever before. Repair, put out fires, tap minigames to reload ammo, and jump in the shower for a cheeky double while your health regenerates. There's a misleading boss fight against a living mountain of post-it notes named Sticky Ricky, but he's the only boss we've encountered so far. It feels more like a wave control kind of control game.
No, don't do that.
Do what exactly?
You're not allowed puns. They're mine.
Are you serious?
As a heart attack.
Jesus H. Christ. Fine, no puns. Whatever you say, Herr Fuhrer.
What was that?
Just some French, mon frère. PSNP Guide Writer Landed Squash 41 gives Firebreak a 3 out of 10 and predicts a 20-hour completion. There are difficulty-related trophies, but you level your gear up and learn the levels as you play. And let's face it, we all have that one friend we all lean on, don't we? So, let them do the hard work, and you just hide in the shower. Being a Firebreaker is so much fun, and the uniquely dark and grotesquely beautiful world of Control is like Tim Burton with more intensity and danger.
4. Control.
And while you're at it, you might as well go and get to know Jessie. If you don't already, complete her story, run around a giant ashtray, defeat secret bosses, and your evil doppelganger. Search every nook and cranny for the 100 skill points to get the trophy no one can say.
You mean the Master Paratiliterian, Goldie?
You stand corrected, that was hot. And grab Jessie's Plat to really hurt the hiss, and defend the FBC with your mind-altering abilities. Let us know in the comments.
5. Gravity Rush. Cat, a gravity-shifting fan of felines, is an amnesiac in a strange 4-dimensionally built place called Hexville. No memory, but superpowers and a groovy, glowy galaxy cat. If it was wrapped in chocolate, we could totally call it a catamel. Get it? No? I thought it was funny.
Okay, now you don't get to do puns.
Oh, okay. 20 hours, one playthrough, no missables, definitely worth playing. Some annoying challenges will frustrate you, but take a second and think about them because most have ridiculously simple solutions despite seeming impossible. It's one of my favourite ever Platinum trophies and one you should definitely check out further in my video on it, which is hopefully out already, but it's probably not. If it is, it'll be linked now, and if it's not, you might want to make sure you're subbed to find out when it is. Thanks. The Escapists 2.
One of mine now is a 8-bit prison break simulator, The Escapists 2. A sandbox so addictive, you'll probably get platinum without trying. Building on what the first game did so well, and improving the logic reasoning behind escapes, and adding a multiplayer component that does increase the fun of the game itself, and the platinum. Finish the story and go back around the base game prisons to earn the I've Got a Cunning Plan, Goldie, which is rewarded for performing 7 unique escapes. These are fun, even though they are a bit finicky. The online can all be boosted, the miscellaneous trophies left to clean up will have you laughing all your way to the outside. Zack has The Escapists 2, languishing half done on his list. Tell him to finish it off and pop the platinum with me, and we might even get a video out of him for it.
TMNT, Shredder's Revenge.
A game I love based on characters I love, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From the same dev team that brought us the excellent Streets of Rage 4 comes a side-scrolling 4-player co-op with fun combat, a good story, great sound, cool retro graphics, and a pretty brutal platinum trophy. Story and collectibles to grab, doing it like the old days, and beat arcade mode on hard, a one-sitting, no continues run for a Goldie. Then there's the infamous Who Needs a Doc Goldie for beating Shredder without taking a hit. Sounds pretty hard, right? It's not. You can earn this the lazy way, the Zack way, and get a good friend with skill and patience to beat Shredder down to his final drop of health before you jump in for the final hit. Voila! Super hard Goldie turned into child's play. But don't let that fool you. The game is rough and the platinum is tough. Regardless of that notorious gold trophy being easier to earn than an arts degree. 7 out of 10 difficulty, 20 hours, 10 out of 10. Stackable on PS4 and PS5.
Number 8, Streets of Rage 4. Axel and Blaze are back looking like a middle-aged rock band fresh off the Colombian Bam Bam and back on tour for the first time in years. Which is basically it, but replace rock band with cops and the Bam Bam with, well, I mean, they're cops in, like, gaming's most corrupt city, so they're probably doing that anyway. But the gang is all back with Max spinning and slamming, Shiva utterly incapable of holding a weapon, and Adam still kicking like prime Cantona. And 2 new enemies threaten Wood Oak City, the twins of Mr. X himself, the original Big Bad. There is so much to do to get the 5 million points for the Bleeding Knuckles Goldie you'll truly have earned to say, my work here is done. But you shouldn't stop there because the DLC is brilliant, and find out why in the video linked in the corner now, and this one I guarantee has already been made because I released it months ago. Yay me. Number 9. Batman Arkham Asylum. One of the older and tougher platinums to take on in this video is the exceptional Arkham Asylum. As Batman drops Joker off at Arkham for the 3rd time that week, he notices that things are a little weirder than normal in Gotham's home for the criminally insane. A cat and mouse game of survival and investigation ensues, and we meet a wide assortment of the Dark Knight's infamous rogues gallery. Some brilliant combat mechanics and gadgets to stealth your way through those most perilous areas, like the true Caped Crusader himself. You will never ever feel like Batman as much as when you finish the game on hard, find all of Nigma's trophies, chain insane combos, and hit the top scores in those brilliant but brutal challenges. 7 out of 10 difficulty. Asylum is not for the faint-hearted, but it is so worth the 20 hours to platinum it. Have you donned the cowl and become the Batman yet? If not, why not? 10. Ghost Runner. A personal favourite of mine and another tricky platinum at 6 out of 10, but Ghost Runner never feels like it's punishing or painful, more frustratingly addictive. We play as Jack, the last Ghost Runner who awakens with no memory and a voice in his head. Searching Dharma City for answers and getting into all sorts of mischief and shenanigans, we discover what happened to the world and why every part of this city wants to unalive us at any cost. Cutting between the gloriously dark dystopian future and the digital world that Jack learns new skills in, we parkour our way through this hack and slash masterpiece, one level at a time. Although the game holds similar qualities to games that have come before it, Ghost Runner does stand alone in the current climate of gaming and stands out as a subgenre we need to see a lot more of on consoles. The first-person parkour hacker-slasher genre. Look, if Plat can come up with Grubby, I can name the genre. Ghost Runner isn't easy, but it isn't insane levels of hard either. Very much a 6 out of 10. The Platinum expects you to complete a level without dying and kill multiple enemies in succession without dying, among a few other tricky trophies. But overall, the balance between fun and challenge is absolutely spot on. The sequel is a little rougher. That one no death level is now 5 levels, and the tricky trophies are replaced with a roguelite minigame that will make you wonder if the devs made this just to mess with your head. Spider-Man.
Over to one of my favourite heroes, games and platinums. It's the web slinger beloved by all PlayStation and Marvel enthusiasts, easily the best game from the Marvel Universe since Deadpool. We all know Peter Parker's story and how this platinum goes, and if you've only done the PS4 version, you have some surprises in store for you in the PS5 remaster. 20 hours, 3 out of 10 difficulty, a great story, some truly heartbreaking miscellaneous trophies, a whole lot of area cleanup, collectibles, upgrades, and some challenges make up this quintessential PlayStation Platinum.
12. Deathloop. Have you ever slogged through a game's story feeling utterly underwhelmed and left fed up and unimpressed by its end? Did it leave you battling yourself to go back and do the cleanup for the Platinum? Only to discover the game was not as you thought previously. It was not in fact a total bag of old lady ass, but rather an ingeniously devised sandbox of trickery and shenanigans, so fun you'd resent the developers for not having put even more stuff in the trophy list for you to do. That is my relationship with the utterly perplexing Deathloop from Bethesda, a PS5 timed exclusive that wrecked my head in all the right ways. Discussing the trophy list does pretty much ruin the fun of it all with this one, so I will simply state that the 5 out of 10 post-DLC difficulty is for the exploding enemies that count as unaliving them if they set themselves off. This causes you to fail the game's most frustrating trophy for completing a level without unaliving any enemies. Be very careful with this one, it is a pain in the bum, but it is absolutely worth it. Some of these trophies are hilarious, some of them are brilliant, but they are all cleverly designed, and it is the only game I've ever played where the Platinum is genuinely better than the game itself. 20 hours and about 14 of it is cleanup, so if you manage to drag yourself through that story, then you may have an equally delightful yet confusing Platinum adventure. Enjoy. 13. Guardians of the Galaxy. Back over to Marvel, and my favourite game from the comic book juggernaut is the highly enjoyable Guardians of the Galaxy. No, not the Telltale game. On what best of list would that piece of dung ever be on? Come on, it's the worst Telltale game. Behave. No, I mean the PS5 launch title from Square Enix. Now, there are frustrating elements to the game, to be sure, such as Star-Lord being the only character you can actually control, and of course the missable trophies on way to Platinum. The missables are down down to collectibles. Shocker, right? But not paying your fines will also force you into a second run. There is New Game Plus and a couple of trophies relating to that, but these are earned the second you take control of Quill, if you followed a collectibles guide to that point, of course. But the Platinum is 20 hours, the story is long and fantastic, but it is a closed narrative, not an open world. There is level select available, but that doesn't help with the collectibles or the Nova Core fine, so a guide is arguably for the best. I know, I never say that, but this one, it might ruin it if you don't, if I'm honest. But go for one that focuses on the collectibles and tries to avoid spoilers. There are some really great guide makers out there to choose from, and if you have a guide writer that you think is above and beyond everyone else, someone that you want to shout from the rooftops and share with your fellow trophy hunters, let us know in the comments, share the great guide writers with your fellow trophy hunters, and let's get platting together. But the story this game will take you on will have you scared, angry, hurt, and heartbroken. You will go from being in the middle of a big, warm, loving, crazy, dysfunctional adopted family to feeling isolated and alone. Basically, it'll make you have all of the feels. But the witty banter between the Guardians makes it one of the most fun and hilarious games you will ever play. It truly captures the vibe and tone of James Gunn's first movie. The combat is bizarrely enjoyable, and although you can't control any of the other Guardians, well, any better than Quill can anyway, you can team up with them for big moves, and these are great fun to pull off and look awesome. This feels like a multiplayer game for people that don't want to play with others, and I am all here for that. I'm telling you, games that feel multiplayer but aren't multiplayer are like my sweet spot. Guardians is only a 3 out of 10 difficulty with a 20-hour platinum, and with a guide is done in 1 and a bit playthroughs, but there are missable trophies and collectibles to watch out for, so be careful. 14. Maneater. It's a shark mockumentary RPG narrated from Jerry from Rick and Morty, and you play as a customizable, ferocious finned apex predator in some really cool water-based environments. And the story really is quite gripping. The boss fights may feel a tad repetitive by the end of the plat, but the final boss in particular is pretty rough and a hell of a lot of fun. There were a lot of bugs on release, and I get that, I do. I just failed the rematch platinum, in fact, because of the bugged trophies in that, so I feel the rage, I promise, but that was long ago, and the devs have done a lot of great work in patches, and now it works really well. 15 hours for a 3 out of 10 mockumentary from Jerry Smith, the universe's ultimate loser. What better way to spend Shark Week? Is it Shark Week? When is Shark Week? Who cares? Every day should be Shark Week. The game is super double mega fun, so go platinum it now on PS4 or PS5. 15. Ghostbusters the video game, remastered. An emerging trend of classic games given remasters and new platinum trophies continues with Ghostbusters Remastered, a fun semi-sequel to the films developed by Terminal Reality and published by Atari. But don't worry, this is nothing like E.T. If you know the story of E.T. on Atari, honestly, if you don't, go check it out, it's hilarious. If Telltale gave Back to the Future fans the fourth quill they never knew they wanted, then Terminal Reality gave Ghostbusters fans the trilogy that they had long yearned for. The script itself coming directly from Dan Aykroyd and the late Harold Ramis. Love Dan Aykroyd because what a guy. You join the team fresh and wet behind the ears and will have to learn real quick to be able to keep up with the real Ghostbusters. You will have to undertake at least 2 playthroughs, although I see 3 more likely, as you need a run with less than $100,000 property damage and one with over $3 million caused. Yeah, $3 million of damage caused. That's like my daughter going into any shop. Honestly, my credit card starts to tremble every time she sets foot in a supermarket. You do need to play the game on the highest difficulty, which isn't exactly hard, but it isn't a walk in the park either. So you may want to separate these into 3 different runs. But it's up to you. Make it as easy or as hard as you want. Very much worth it if you do know who to call, and probably even more so if you don't. But if you don't know who to call, then your parents have failed you, and I mean that. I'm not even sorry. No, I am sorry, because you have been horrifically neglected by your parents, and you should contact social services immediately. I'm kidding. But you can watch the original 2 films anytime now, so stop watching this and go watch some classic spooky comedy cinema from the glorious 1980s before you platinum this brilliant game. You have a 15-20 hour completion time, and PSNP guide writer Fido Leet gives it a 2 out of 10, but honestly, that's a bit off, mate, to be honest. It's at least a 3. 16. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. My beloved spongy spirit animal has 2 exceptional games for you to platinum, and both come with double stacks. So we'll start with Battle for Bikini Bottom. Rehydrated! A PS2 era classic, SpongeBob's fanbase has only grown in the last 17 years between that and the stunning HD remake, to the delight of old and new fans alike. This open world platforming delight has nothing missable, or strenuous, or frustrating. Just a leisurely, enjoyable and funny adventure with everyone's favourite washing up accessory. A 2 out of 10 difficulty, 15 to 20 hour completion, nothing missable, everything bouncy and delightful on your way to every golden spatula until you proudly pop the glorious platinum. Neptune's Spatula.
17, SpongeBob 2. And if you enjoy it, then you can hop on to Cosmic Shake for another 15 hours, with your primary objective to unlock all costumes. Another 2 out of 10 difficulty, and is every bit as fun and enjoyable as Bikini Bottom.
GTA 3, oh, here we go again.
Excuse me?
You're going to tell everyone about how your cheating ass got yourself stuck in slow motion.
I wasn't even gonna. GTA 3, the one where Claude gets betrayed by his bird. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, but after 30 years, GTA now feels a lot like Friends. It's comforting and familiar with nostalgic, good-natured humour and...
OMG, it's GTA 3. Everyone knows what it is.
Fine, no witty jokes or sarcasm for our beloved audience. Sorry, friends, the sourbag grumpy puss Dark Shell Knight doesn't like our bants. GTA 3 is a 5 out of 10 and will take the full 20 hours permitted in this video, but it is very, very much worth it. Certainly preferable to the Finish It edition. Not that I don't like modernised graphics and mechanics, but I love the real thing and have to tell you that this is one of the most fun platinum trophies I have ever earned.
Even with the slow motion debacle?
It made it even more fitting, I'm not joking at all.
That tracks.
19, Unbound, Worlds Apart. Now a little known indie gem starring an adorable orco-looking protagonist named Solly, who has to find and save his people by surviving a hellish Metroidvania and acquiring new powers as he progresses. The game is a hell of a lot harder than it looks, that hand-drawn aesthetic delightfully misleading. This colourful magical game is brutally tough. Areas impossible to access without finding new abilities, which they themselves are absolutely agonizing to attain. Collectibles in the guise of lore and villagers will have you scour every pixelated inch of this gorgeous map, and the lore itself is written by Dave Cook, author of the exceptional comic book series Killtopia. It's a cyberpunk set tale of a dystopian megacity and Shinji who must traverse like 1,000 blocks of its assassin-filled streets to find a cure for a deadly nanovirus. It's brilliant, honestly. So the lore in Unbound Worlds Apart is definitely worth reading, basically. This is a 7 out of 10 difficulty, 20 hour completion, and it will earn you that platinum with a lot of exploring, if you can beat it. Are you tough enough to take on Unbound Worlds Apart? Let me know in the comments. 20, Deadpool, PS4 only. Who loves chimichangas? Well, not this guy actually, he just likes the way the name feels in his mouth. But he does love crude humour, ultra-violence, pimp-slapping Canadian men of height limitations, and of course breaking the shit out of the fourth wall. Deadpool is on PS3 and PS4, only available physically as it has been delisted. It will cost you a few quid, but no more than a new game on release. So instead of tossing your money into the corporate greed furnace for a busted game that bugs out more than a arachnophobic entering the Chalice dungeon for the first time, and buy this instead. You want to avoid the PS3 version, however, as it forces you to play the game twice, as a normal run is required to unlock the ultra-violence difficulty needed for platinum. And there are some fun and challenging trophies that you will need to grab via chapter select if you don't get them during your playthrough. Upgrades, weapons, hilarious freebie trophies, and the regular unmissable story stuff will pop every trophy, and the merc with a mouth will tell you that it's okay, you can sell the game now. That was my best Ryan Reynolds. That was bad, wasn't it? PSNP guide writer PJ Cooper 2012 gives Wade a 4 out of 10 difficulty, which, yeah, that's fair, but I feel that 30-hour completion is excessive. I clocked 22 hours and I suck, so I'm gonna say that a skilled hunter like you will have no problem polishing this near-perfect adaptation of comics' most talkative anti-hero in 20 hours or less. 21. A Plague Tale: Innocence. The story of Amicia and Hugo is heartbreaking, horrific, tragic and terrifying. The French siblings thrust into ultimate survival mode when the Inquisition raid their home and unalive their parents. Forced to flee and evade capture, Amicia must grow into the role of protector for the rat-whispering Hugo the fanatical Inquisition are obsessed with. Learning to hide, travel, survive and eventually fight, Amicia goes through one of the most powerful and engaging character arcs in modern gaming. From maiden to warrior mother in 20 hours as you follow her growth during her journey. There is a very high likelihood that you'll have to dip your toe into New Game Plus due to the very limited resources available to upgrade your arsenal, a trophy requirement, of course. But with a keen eye and taking care to explore every environment thoroughly, they're not overly hard to find. The sequel will take a little longer, but if you haven't already played Innocence, then playing Requiem would be like driving a sports car before learning to shift gears.
Yes, it's OG God of War. Kratos, young and virile with a mega temper, sadist streak to rival any horror franchise big bad, and O-games that still make teenage boys blush the colour of beetroot when their mums find them playing it. 15 hours of hack and slash brilliance from the heyday of ultra-violence, Greek tragedy, and telenovela level melodrama, and more daddy issues than Zack has.
The Ghost of Sparta has collectibles, a speedrun you can walk through on easy, and some infuriating finger-breaking challenges that will forever live in the corner of my mind. A painful memory of a platinum well earned long ago. This 5 out of 10 legend beginning masterpiece of a Devil May Cry clone is simply one of the very best platinum trophies you will ever earn, and if you love the grumpy old grandpa version, Santa Monica are intent on ramming down if you haven't played the Greek saga, then it's time you really got to know the true Kratos. 23. Medieval. The fantasy action platformer following Sir Daniel Fortescue, a disgraced knight resurrected by magics to save his home of Gallowmere. British humour in a game that just feels like Tim Burton in simply every way. The 1998 PS1 classic developed a cult following, just like the eccentric filmmaker himself, who is also autistic, by the way. Not that it's overly relevant, but it's fun to point out the brilliant people in the world on the spectrum who show everyone what unique creativity we all have within us all. This entry is not only a game, but a kind of multiverse of platinum trophies. Each one is ridiculously easy and all are good fun, varying in quality a little bit, but not too drastically that you'll be looking for EA's name in the credits.
Nice burn.
Thank you. So first in the franchise to get the Platinum Prestige treatment is the second remake of the original game, the PS4 remake, which was developed lovingly and loyally by American studio Other Ocean Emeryville, utterly dispelling the myth that Americans don't understand British humour, because these devs got it so friggin' right. They absolutely nailed it, and honestly, mega good job. You're amazing. I love you guys. You're just a brilliant development team. I did absolutely brilliant. I played a load of your stuff. You're fantastic. But they took the reins from the original developers, a Sony subsidiary studio called SE Cambridge. The company became Guerrilla Cambridge in 2012 due to Sony's European restructuring and rebrand, and working under the Guerrilla banner until Sony closed Cambridge's doors in 2017. Although Sony did try to reassign some staff, many were made redundant or moved to other companies to continue their careers. Ocean Emeryville were obvious choices to helm the remaster, as they had experience in comedy with South Park and Rick and Morty, as well as remaster experience on the Mega Man collections. And they really did a wonderful job. I mean, a really, really wonderful job. There are very few remakes that are this good, honestly. But it was the second remake of the 98 original, as the first attempt at resurrecting Sir Daniel Fortescue was the PSP Classic, which is just as cool, by the way. I love the PSP. Anyway, that came to PS Plus Premium on the Classics catalogue a while back, as did the original trilogy, Medieval, Medieval 2 and Medieval Resurrection. A ghoulishly great gaming trilogy, and Platinum's easier than a lass on summer hollybobs in Ibiza. You just gotta love that rewind feature in the Classics catalogue. Hallelujah, praise Sony! 5 fun and easy classic games to Platinum. But each of those games also have PS4 and PS5 stacks. All have Platinums under 15 hours, and for you leaderboard legends, I am almost certain that you can use PS4 saves to pop the PS5 Plats for all 5. Auto pop power. Rage at me in the comments if I'm wrong. 24. Wolfenstein Old Blood. Finally a double entry so surprising the Germans will have to censor their version. It's Wolfenstein Old Blood and the New Order. The reboot for one of gaming's most beloved and pioneering franchises returns, with BJ all blown to bits and sitting on his lazy backside while Hitler and the Uber Muppets took over the flaming world. Can't blame him though, really. I mean, he really liked that view, didn't he? But when he finally gets some sense literally slapped into him in New Order, the rebellion is reborn and the fight for freedom and liberation from a lunatic's fascist control begins. But before we get to how we cheese the New Order's big bad final boss, we should play prequel Old Blood because, well, it's a prequel and it's mint. Old Blood is set in the small village of Wolfburg, situated on catacombs concealing great ancient evil that loves swallowing grenades. You'll understand that when you get to the end of the game. Old Blood is the best of the Wolfenstein reboot entries for me. The tight spaces of Wolfburg make this FPS feel like a horror survival game in the very best ways. It geniusly creates tension and terror at every turn. Old Blood somehow just ups the ante with every single cutscene. The platinum is tough. You will have to beat the Nightmare levels, the original FPS installment of the franchise, or, ever, actually, but not really. Basically, it was the very foundation for every shooter that we've had the joy of blasting our way through ever since, but it wasn't actually the first 3D FPS. I'll probably do a video on the history of FPS games. If anyone wants to see that, if you don't, let me know. You have brutal challenges, and I do mean utterly brutal. How do you feel about wave survival that's timed and is ranked and requires you to perform consecutive chained headshots and never ever miss? Oh, and like I said, it's basically a speed run because it's timed, and the time that you finish it in depends on how many points you get, and you need to hit top points. I'm not selling this to a lot of you, am I? I can hear you groaning in the background and skipping forward to the final game, but you should try it. You really should. It's a great game and it's a great platinum. So to those of you that I am still talking to, you are the warriors, you are the battlers, and you are the ones that are going to get those 6 out of 10s, 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, and maybe, just maybe one day you'll get that 10 out of 10. Mein Leben! Let me know. It can be done in about 12 hours, but that will depend a lot on how you get on with those headshot challenges. So good luck. 25, Wolfenstein, The New Order. Finally, the very best game on the list. The last game on the list is Wolfenstein The New Order, a 20-hour platinum that caused the controversy that ended with us getting Mein Leben as a goddamn bronzer. Yes, New Order is brilliant, a brilliant story, strong characters, glorious guns, gals, and gore. Sci-fi, alt history madness, industrial punk technology, is that what it is? It's not steampunk, gasoline punk, petrol punk? Oh, I like that. Yeah, a petrol punk techno aesthetic through the machines and giant hot-headed dogs to the final boss who you can beat easily by hiding under some stairs. And that's where the controversy comes in. So some people mock the game's difficulty and design for this slight oversight, and Machine Games, the developers of the reboot, took offense to this. And in an act of absolute top-shelf shithousery and shenanigans, they dropped Mein Leben as a bronzer in Wolf 2 The New Colossus. Now, I know it's cool to hate on Bethesda, but they've given me some of my all-time favourite games and greatest adventures. I love them, I can't help it, and I'm not even sorry. This is peak dev player banter, and I am so in this niche of the hobby for that. New Order is a piece of cake if you've already done Old Blood and can be polished off in under 20 hours with a 5 out of 10 difficulty. Are you going to get BJ's beginner plats to get ready for Wolf 2 and the 10 out of 10 glory it offers? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please drop us a like, it really helps us out, and make sure to be subbed for our future content. There are some links for our Discord community where everyone is welcome, our Patreon and channel memberships with some pretty cool perks, and of course our awesome partners at Wraith with a discount of 10% when you use code ZXL. Thank you all, be good to yourselves and each other.